So, a whole lot's been coming out in regards to the Godzilla fandom and how it sucked. There's been plenty of good points to be made, and a lot of bad ones as well. But before I state my own opinions regarding this, allow me to tell you the tale of how I became a Godzilla fan. How that might have been a grave mistake. It all really began with Godzilla 1998. I grew up with that film thanks to my dad. He's a big film buff nerd. And I was a dinosaur kid first and foremost, and I was never really aware of Godzilla outside of that one film, and potentially Godzilla and Mothra Battle for Earth due to my aunt owning that on VHS. I kind of remember watching it via that, but it never really stuck with me. This was until one day in the year 2008. I was browsing YouTube for dinosaur content and stumbled upon Cinemassacre's Top 10 Giant Movie Monsters video. And I got introduced to the Japanese Godzilla through it. Then I watched the AVG and Godzilla episode in Godzilla Dawn, and thus the rest is history. My dad scoured through VHSs of old Godzilla films for either friends of his or group gift shops, and I eventually watched a bunch of Godzilla films through that. I collected Bandai America figures from a Toys R Us where it was away from me. I binge watched things like the Oscar Chronicles, Walter Zilla, Red King Attacks, and more. Hell, even one of my fourth grade teachers was a fan of Godzilla, and she let me borrow this now really rare classic media Godzilla set, and that's how I watched a bunch of Showa era films. I watched a portion of the Millennium era films through Crackle, if anyone remembers that. I read through the Kaiju War Chronicles, watched Toho Kingdom Toons, religiously looked through Gojipedia before it sucked, made my own fan comics, and way more. Needless to say, I became obsessed with Godzilla, and that grew even more once the 2014 hype began to unearth. I was making Godzilla controllable mechs in video games with Den, the sandbox game Little Big Planet, alongside other cool cats that led me to being friends with a lot of now decently prominent people within the fandom, like Titano Ante of Wikizilla fame and Nutsy. Then I got bored one summer vacation in 2016 and decided to start animating on my mom's old work computer in Miku Miku Dance, and thus the Toho Society was born. A little bit of trivia with that, I came up with that name on the fly, and I thought it sounded really cool and pretty unique. I did have other stuff posted on my channel before officially beginning the Toho Society, like toy videos, stop motions, and little skits, but those are unfortunately lost to time. I started posting pretty much whatever I wanted and just wanted to have fun with it. Then late 2016 changed everything. I posted fan art for Goji 73 series Godzilla and his basic friends on Google Plus, and he found it. Reached out to me, and that's how I managed to be where I'm at now. For better or for worse is another debate, but he invited me to help him out with his anniversary special Gathering of the Kings. He shared models with me, and I helped him out with getting MMD set up, amongst other things, which led to me being able to work on Goshi Fan 93's sadly cancelled Kaiju Fantasy Battle Season 2, which then led me to being invited to a little server in Discord named Anti-Toku, a congregation of tokusatsu, predominantly Godzilla content creators. Everything was going pretty well, nothing out of the ordinary necessarily happened besides some stray situations like in regards to Louis Duran or Earthman. Those are cans of words I'd rather not unearth once again. But then 2020 happened, and my whole dynamic within the fandom was going to change a fair bit over the next 4 years. Over the summer of 2020, I joined the Kaiju Legends Patreon server. I really like the guy's stuff. He's pretty cool in my personal opinion, but I won't lie, the buddy surrounds himself with questionable individuals. Most of which I won't bother naming because I'd rather not start a harassment campaign towards them, but a lot of them really like being edgy for the sake of being edgy, dropping the N-bomb and making Nazi jokes amongst other bullshit. Didn't really help once I revealed what I looked like. If anything, it just got worse. I'll never forget those Minecraft server incidents. You know who you are. That aside, there was one person in it that is really worth mentioning, Kaiju, aka Godzilla. I know a lot of you are already aware of what that sick freak did, but what happened before and after the fact is another discussion. Before any of that really went down, I very rarely talked to him when I was in the DKL server. But whenever I did, he just radiated bad vibes, calling the younger people in there the next generation of kaiju tubers, which is factually kind of correct, but the way he said it always rubbed me the wrong way. Not to mention, calls with him was beyond odd. He was practically always drunk, lashed out. Hell, he kicked me out of a single call multiple times as a quote unquote joke. The others who were more closely associated with him tried to help him out, but no avail. He was always a weirdo, for lack of a better word. And then students he taught were talking about him publicly on Facebook, how he harassed and assaulted them. And someone discovered them, and now here's what happened after. I won't say who exposed them, because I know damn well they don't want to deal with the ramifications of it, but I will say all hell broke loose. A particular member of the community found out, an individual everyone knows about at this point, but I won't say who. This individual was really good friends with Godzilla, so of course, the fact this came to light really struck a nerve with them. As soon as they found out who exactly exposed them, they told others around them that the person was ruining the Godzilla community for bringing attention to it, that the community isn't toxic, and now that they're making it seem that way, everyone will think it. Boy, that didn't age well. Aside from that, I'm not sure exactly what happened to Godzilla specifically after the fact, besides him getting fired from his job and being ostracized from the community, but that's about it. While I didn't necessarily have any close ties with him, it still hurts that his students had to deal with him. He was one of my inspirations. But I guess it's like the old saying goes, never meet your heroes. Things really weren't the same after that, no matter how many times people attempted to try bringing things back to normal. And for the most part, it just it's just kind of bad. All of that happened. A few years went by, more controversies came and went, and all that fun stuff. And now we got Trigun and his Godzilla Omniverse fan game. This is a Godzilla fighting fan game that was initially on itch.io and is currently still up on the Google Play Store. The desktop version was close to $30 while the mobile version is free, but littered with ads. So regardless of what version you got, he's still profiting off the game. The desktop version got taken down by Itch for copyright infringement, I believe. The dev tried to release his game on Steam, but that got shut down rather quick. He's a very volatile and frankly irredeemable person in my eyes. There's a whole lot to go over regarding this, so I'll try to summarize to the best of my ability. I bought the game way before any of this happened. Frankly, I didn't really like it all too much, and there's plenty of videos going over everything with the game. So I won't parrot what they already said. But after this game got taken off itch and the assets from the game got ripped and released publicly, he went on a DMCA and doxing rampage, taking down any and all links to the released assets, and trying to gather information pertaining to who released the assets, going all the way to racially profiling several people, me included. All of this to really say, fuck this man. Now, in case you don't know, I'm black, trans, bisexual, and autistic, so I'm like a super minority within the fandom. Not many people to really talk to that are like me to an extent, so, the amount of racist, transphobic, homophobic comments I've seen over the years have truly disgusted me, especially surrounding posts I've made on formerly known as Twitter X, and regarding Godzilla Savior of Melee, a mod project I'm a part of. See, for the past 2 years, we've made banners commemorating Pride Month, and this year specifically, people reacted to this particular banner with a thumbs down emoji. Upon seeing this, we thought it'd be best to just boot out whoever reacted to the post with that. Is it a bit overkill, and should we have explained why we banned them? Maybe. But frankly, I'm kind of glad we did it now. I know I don't want biggest in the same space as me, so might as well get rid of them. This led to said band people speaking out and trying to make people boycott our project. A very one sided debate ensued, and a lot of people exposed themselves as bigots, even people that cover our content, which was more unfortunate than anything, especially considering the vast majority of the dev team are queer ourselves. I've seen many people try to argue that either Godzilla is just an animal or he'd destroy anyone regardless of who they are, or even don't bring politics into Godzilla. Do you know what Godzilla initially stood for? It was a response to one of the worst man-made tragedies in history, and you think he isn't political or was a metaphor for something? Godzilla is such a flexible and malleable character that he can represent pretty much anything. Not to mention an official comic came out recently that's a lesbian love story that includes Godzilla. Hell, Toku themselves endorsed an adorable little animation involving little Godzilla coming out to her dad. Do y'all not hear yourselves when you try to spell bullshit? Now, the question of the day is, how do I feel about the fandom? I personally think that while it does suck, it's far from being a lost cause. Despite my experiences, I've made lots of connections and friends from making art and animations, releasing sound effects, and sharing my knowledge to whoever needs it. And at the end of the day, I still absolutely adore Godzilla. This doesn't mean I'm going to stop making Godzilla content, however, I will be taking a major step back from the community and making stuff I actually enjoy making that's outside of Godzilla. Truth be told, I've been super burnt out in regards to Godzilla, so I think this will be for the best. And after all, I'm called the Toku Society now for a reason. There's way more stuff out there outside of Godzilla that I seriously implore people to check out, like Ultraman, Kamen Rider, Garo, Super Sentai, and more. I am of a firm belief that there's something out there for everyone, and all you really have to do is give it a chance. Most of these properties have even surpassed Godzilla for me, so if that doesn't say anything, then I don't know what will. But what can we do to improve the fandom? I highly recommend checking out Donny video about this very subject. He pretty much took the words right out of my mouth. But all of this to say, do better. Call out others who are being hateful and kick them the fuck out. We don't need any more hateful people than we already have to deal with on a daily basis within the fandom. So, just do better.